Oh, there you go, my friend.
Facebook Live, man. Here.
That indeed. So it is good. I know I would have to
Oh,
send you. Oh,
good.
you see it?
I'm
Okay,
here.
cool. Then I don't
Yeah,
have to send it to you.
I have the link here. What's up, Josh? Adam? How's it going in Australia, man?
I got a cat creeping on in. Oh, you're literally watching yourself. I see. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. Oh, Amber, what's up, Thunderbutt? Okay, that goes like way on back. And as you see, my child also has a Thunderbutt slash Thunder Thighs. So we're joining completely together. Hold on, real quick, because I'm going to boot one of the cats out here so we can get it started, my friend.
Perfect.
There we go. This is life of having. Oh, thank you for that. I really enjoy it, and I'm so excited because it's technically my last night before I head out of town again. I'm going to Miami, not too far from Hollywood. If that's where you're still at, holler at me. Maybe this time I can catch you, Amber. So I appreciate that. But nonetheless, so Killian and I are here today. I know I do a podcast, and thank you for wanting to join, Killian. I have, of course, those conspicuous millennials, and a part of it being of just the conversation in general is really just about technology and how not only do we have our effects upon technology, but how it also affects us in turn. And it's so much nicer to have somebody with you instead of me just talking into a blue Yeti all by myself. So, Killian, thank you for joining me, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Terrence. It's always a pleasure to, whether it be you in Dallas here, us at the Egg and I, or now First Watch, just doing this Skype interview here. So let's go ahead and get started, man.
Yeah, and before I do that, let me throw a little shade at somebody named Amber Schwartz just one more time. Amber, yeah, of course you're flying into Arizona the time I'm coming in, so you know what else. But hopefully I catch you sooner or later, so I'm going to try to reach out to you. But nonetheless, so a topic we want to talk about tonight that I think is just really exciting is it really dives in deep. Okay, so let me set the stage for you, right? I was over at a coffee shop, getting some work done, doing some stuff personally for work. And nonetheless, I run into two people as I'm trying to exit and leave, and it was such a conversation. Like, I could not help but to try to somewhat interject myself in a very polite way, and thankfully, like, they were very forgiving and very nice about it. But nonetheless, they were just talking about, like, how they believe just technology is ruining human beings in general. And so I thought it would be cool to talk about just social media in general, and is it something that's very helpful towards people, meaning not only just ourselves as millennials, but just people in general, meaning older people, ourselves, younger people especially, because people are heavily opinionated in that factor. And just talk about some of the good, the bad, and ugly as you put it. And then, to me, why this type of thing matters in the first place, and people are just like blowing this way out of proportion.
Yeah, so set the stage one more time. So you're at the coffee shop, and did you catch like the entire conversation, or like just like one little bit of it, or what else was going on there?
Now, I caught just a little bit of it, and then so let me just start with the topic, right? They were talking about things like kids being on social media and not forming real friends, and how it's ruining them, and that and again, I'll save the opinions for a minute, but how screen time may be too damning. Oh. But hold on, I'm just going to pause for a second. I know I can't do this every single time, but James Gold, thanks for the love. Do you see? Yeah, the Facebook dad. True story. Even though I need to get rid of this not Facebook, but this dad bod, as I'm going to call it, because damn, it's hit me heavy. But anyway, so no, Killian, I caught just like the very end of it in general, and I mean, this lady was going in. She was going straight up ham. Just how like technology is ruining everybody, and I'm not going to let my daughters or sons have a smartphone. And we got into like what should have been maybe I thought in my eyes, which I should know this by now, like this is impossible. But what I thought would just maybe take 2 minutes could easily have turned into 2 hours. It turned into like 20 minutes, and I literally had to go because I ordered food, and if I didn't get home in time with pizza for my wife, and it was Valentine's Day at that, then she was gonna be straight up pissed off. So that was like a no go in general. Just couldn't even do it. But
yeah, she probably has like 5 other social media like wishing her a happy Valentine's Day, and she just was like, no, absolutely not. I will throw this phone in the gutter on the way.
Dude, pizza is like her thing. Like, that's her thing. But, okay, so real quick, right? Like, okay, first off, relationships. Let's go with that. Oh, yeah. Was she a baby boomer? I think so, Monica. She was kind of on the edge there. She's doing well for herself. Very good point there. But no, I'm on the fence. I mean, she's definitely, like, not our age as parents. Like, her kids are definitely older, like, in their teens. And just one I'm just going to throw out there, right? I'm just going to hop into it, Killian. Like, her thing, I was like, okay, wait a minute. You think technology ruins everybody's life, but have you not stopped to consider, like, everything that we said we wouldn't do, things are changing because of technology for the better. So let me just throw an example at you. Okay, in what world when we were growing up, did parents say, okay, totally cool that you hop into a car with a stranger? Said never. No parent ever, right? Like, you don't do it. But yet, every day today, you hop in a car, skip the taxi, think of Uber and Lyft rides. You're literally hopping in Uber and Lyft rides with strangers, like, all day. And even some parents, some very busy people, what do? They literally order Lyft or Ubers for their loved ones, friends, family, whomever, and literally send them on their way. Right? And then, I know you've been in the cell phone industry for quite some time in your past, but, I mean, even think of it this way. In, let's say, like, mid-2000s, let's just say 2005 or so, people would tell me, oh, a camera on a phone is stupid and silly. Like, who's going to use that? The resolution's horrible. There's no point for it. GPS, like, I was using OV Maps in those days, or Nokia Maps, even before, like, Google was really big. And people would tell me all the time, Chance, I don't need that. I have MapQuest. I'm just going to download this shit on paper and print it out. Like, texting and driving's dangerous, but people like moving tons of pages dangerous.
What was it, Mapsco? Like the thick book that they would have in their car, and you'd have to rely on the closest 7-Eleven?
Yeah, exactly. But
if you got lost. But then again, there's a human interaction there. You have to get your car at the convenience store and say, hey, where's some directions? And then be on your way. You never see that person. I mean, that's a con. You don't have this, yes, we're saving trees by not having a thick Mapsco in our car or a map. You don't have that human interaction. Maybe you don't buy that Slurpee anymore because you don't have to,
so pause for a second. Okay, straight up, if somebody comes at you, right, let's say you're pumping gas or something of that nature, someone comes straight at you and asks you for, like, directions or can they use your phone or something, they're a mad suspect. Right, like, no one's
2018, absolutely. 2008, that's a different story.
Yeah, first you could go in a gas station likely and then buy a damn phone or something of that nature. I don't know. It seems so backwards. But again, just rewind to, let's say, even arguably 10-ish years ago, right? I mean, people that still wasn't exactly the norm. Like, maybe as high tech people, that's what we did, but it wasn't 100% of the norm yet. And so,
yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, the first iPhone came out, so it's like you have to just think back to time before an iPhone, right? So,
yeah, and it just wasn't the norm. And so back to the social media side, like, okay, so wait a minute. So let's start back from the beginning, and let's go with, like, let's say relationships. In your opinion, do you think, like, social media actually helps relationships with leverage, or do you think it harms it?
I think it's an absolute positive, man. It helps it definitely, hands down. Like, I went to live by myself in China for a year at age 16, and if it wasn't for Skype, Facebook, I wouldn't be able to connect with those individuals. I had, like, a class of 14 other foreign exchange students with me, all around the same age, living in China for a year, and everyone went back to their own country at the end of it. I went back to America, obviously. I still connect with my French friend, my Dutch friend, my Norwegian friend, and then all the other people.
I think it's definitely a positive myself. And by the way, I'm throwing this out there. Jason Ross, are you throwing some shade? What is this? Is this the type of thing that's supposed to crash, I don't know, iPhones or something at the time? That's what it looks like to me. I don't know, that crazy text that came out, but Jason, I don't know what that has to do with anything we're talking about right now, but I'm just going to assume that was good intent, my friend. I'm assume that was just good intent. But nonetheless, no, I agree with you. I think it really helps with relationships in general. And I think of it this way, right? Like, okay, let's say back in the day, if, I don't know, like my best friend growing up, let's say Gerard Wigfall, right? I have recently gotten back in touch with him. We're not really nowhere near as close, but I have so many good childhood memory friends, from that era that if Facebook existed at the time, I would have been better in touch with and possibly had better forged relationships at this time. But I don't, just because it didn't exist. So I look at things like Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth as ways to keep in touch, whether you were like me and let's say you grew up in a military type family where you're traveling around a lot, you were able to keep in touch with one another. And not only that, but let's be real quick. It also allows you ladies out there to do really good, I'm going to call it detective work, prior to make sure that anybody that you're possibly be dating doesn't have some sort of secret family, secret relationship on the side or something of that nature. So I think that's like just heavily important to use as a tool of not only, again, keeping in touch, people that maybe you just briefly meet, but maybe you want to reconnect with in the future. Maybe they live in an area that you travel often, but you don't live in. I mean, there's so many possibilities that I think it adds goodwill to.
Yeah, most definitely. But then on the other hand, you have no privacy whenever it comes to checking in somewhere. So, like, one of my friends, he checked into Florida, and his house in Dallas got broken into because there were friends on his Facebook that were just Facebook stalking him. Same with people can get their feelings really hurt if you send them a message, and on Facebook or even like iMessage, you see that the message, or maybe, you know, you're supposed to hang out with that friend, and then they just completely ignored you, and then post like a selfie or, you know, outfit of the day, and then you're like, well, hello, like I texted you like 12 hours ago, where are you at? So yeah, I mean, like, just that no privacy aspect. You can't really, I mean, unless you just like deactivate your Facebook. They even are jokingly saying like, oh yeah, you're gonna come back, like, we'll be here for you. We'll leave the light on.
Yeah,
like,
well, and look what James Gold just mentioned, by the way. James says, agree with Killian. I have family in London, Australia, and other places around the globe. Love being able to stay connected, which, by the way, it would have sounded much better in James's accent. I mean, he's got a nice accent. I'm sure the girls melt over it. I'm sorry I couldn't deliver it like you would, James, but Killian, you still get the gist nonetheless, my friend.
I mean, James, last name, like, I'm golden, he's gold, so we're good.
I'm not going to give any dad jokes right now, so I'm just going to stay as far away from that as possible, but I feel you, my friend. But Benvu friend, yeah, define that, right? Define your Facebook friends. It's a whole other situation between friends versus acquaintances at that. So I mean, that list can just go just on and on. Okay, so from relationships, just because for the sake of time, the next one is loss of sleep. So I don't know if anybody else that may be watching is totally guilty of laying in bed and like literally scrolling the entire time. Now look, I'm not mentioning no names out there. Her name rhymes with Victoria Blunt, but I know like she could do that all the time. Yeah, right. Yeah, so she does this all the time where she's like just consistently scrolling through. But you know what? I'm kind of thankful for that. I'll pause for a second to redeem myself before she catches it. I will say this though, she is better connected than I am because of that. Like, she is very aware of everything that's going on. But at what point do you have like issues with like not putting the phone down, right? Like, you know, you got a problem if you're lying in bed and then all of a sudden, yeah, James, and all of a sudden you drop your damn phone on your face. Like, you're so tired, right? You're just like up here, you're scrolling. It's like, oh, let me grab my phone real quick, and then from here you start scrolling, and then you drop it on your face. Maybe you have a problem. Maybe you need to take a break. Maybe we shouldn't even take it in a bedroom to begin with. I mean, I think the bedroom is made for a few things, and having a phone is not one of them. Sleep is a good one. Privacy, I put it that way. That's another good one, right? Like, why even take the phone, I guess, in the bedroom? Oh.
Well, I mean, even like with the phone, like the loss of sleep, like there's so many articles about just blue light affecting sleep. So they recommend not looking at a screen like 30 minutes to an hour prior to even going to bed. so you can actually get a good night's rest. And if you're just scrolling in bed, like you said, a lot of people have that habit. It's like, oh yeah, my phone's just plugged in on the nightstand or next to my pillow, and I'm just going to keep scrolling through. I'm guilty of it so much, just looking at different cat videos, different dog videos, pretty much anything. Reddit has essentially anything from financial advice all the way to sports. So it's just like, and just keep going through all these forums, and I'm losing a lot of sleep because I have a lot of topics I'm interested in.
Well, by the way, you get a few shout-outs. Number one, Andrew Gray says he misses us. So, Andrew, we miss you too, but my friend, you're doing bigger and better things, so I'm not even hating on you on that. Amber Shores, totally guilty of it. It takes great courage to call yourself out. And last but not least, Ben Vu with his, but it's my alarm clock. Okay, he's got a point there. I mean, it definitely is long. Let's be honest, right? Like, sometimes my phone stays on a wireless charge over here, and then other times I put it on the side of the bed quickly. I mean, I don't know if you find that. Like, I might look at the news and some Twitter feeds here or there, but like, I really do try to like make it extremely quick, like as quick as possible. And then just real quick here, Jason Ross, he says, my phone is my connection to the world around me. That's fortunate and unfortunate. However, that's the best way for me to digest works and local news. And no, I stand somewhat corrected on that. I know it's kind of making fun of taking it to the bedroom, but let's just be honest with you. I mean, this thing goes with us everywhere, even the bathroom, which is, by the way, why you should not touch other people's phones. I mean, think about it. They take it to the bathroom at all times. I'll let that sink in. But I know, right?
Gross.
To change that subject, so I know the next one, right? So we already talked about, obviously, some friends, relationships, lack of sleep. The next one up, and this is a heavy hitter, trolls.
Trollface.jpg.
Cannot stand troll. Like, the absolute worst. I guess, like, it's a good thing if people, like, genuinely have something that they need to share with you. And let's say, for instance, right now, I don't know, I suck. Let's just say I'm not doing a good job at something. I think it's important for people to tell me, like, straight up, right? Like, don't be like my mom who may like everything I do. But at the same time, you want constructive feedback, but I mean, you don't want somebody just like to come through and just like try to burn down your whole world just for, shits and giggles, right? Like that. I think that's the worst part.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes under the drama category of just anything. Trolls, I see a lot of trolls on Reddit, and then if you go to any major news station, Facebook page, you'll see a lot of trolls on there. It's just, I mean, they always say high school never ends, and so it's just like, you got a lot of people that keep bullying, a lot of people that are just plain stupid. I mean, this day and age, if you say something, you better make sure you stand by it. Spell check, grammar check, all that stuff. Because they will rip you apart out there. So stay safe, my friends.
Yeah, and for better for worse, right? Like, let me just think aloud here for a moment. These type of things really expose us. Like, this is something I love about social media, though, is because people really, truly do put forth their true selves, if you know what I'm saying. Especially when they think anonymity is involved. Like, I feel like you really get a good sense of who somebody is. So somebody's like really into tearing people down and just, tear them down to build themselves up. That's exactly what they're going to do. And if somebody's really into trying to be positive, give something back, and build people up, then that's exactly what they're going to do. And, trolls, I think there's sometimes, a place for it. Like, sometimes it can be a bit funny if, let's say if I make a modest mistake and I get a little troll for it. I think, to a degree, some of it is acceptable. I just think some people just go way too far. And, and I mean, it kind of exposes, again, just that dark side of humanity of what people do on the web that's just unacceptable. And, I mean, we clearly see things from, like, bullying. I mean, like, for instance, if you and I, when we were in school, let's say, I don't know, you had someone troll you at school. Well, once you hit that bus, and hopefully they didn't ride your bus, but once you hit that bus one and you got home, guess what? You don't have to deal with them anymore. These days, though, it's like they can still get you, you know what I'm saying? Like, even from afar, from across the world, people can still troll you online. And it's rather unfortunate because it can be very distractive towards possibly a good message or goodwill that somebody's trying to do. Somebody may not agree with it, might not like it, and it just derails the whole conversation. I mean, we see this in politics all the time. We're not going to get into it today, but I mean, we see this with the gun situation, right? Like people, okay, seriously, come on, Kat. People seriously they get crazy. You know, they literally troll and just try to disrupt the entire thing. And I just don't think it's helpful at all.
It definitely isn't. I mean, there is a place in time for everything. Like you can make a meme about it, etc. Like I was in Atlanta for a Google training, and we just started making memes because we were there as a group collectively together for an entire week of training, and each other. You know, we poked that stuff. Yeah, we just funny each other, trolled each other, made tons of memes that we can still joke about to this day. But of course, like if someone ever said, "Hey, man, that's like hurting my feelings," yeah, we're just going to stop that immediately. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully people get a grip, because, I mean, some people out there are extremely savage, but, you know, some people, they got some good clapbacks that they give the people, and to me, I like it when a troll really gets put in their place. It gives me great pleasure, personally. But, so, okay, we have the troll side, but then we also have, you know, you pointed out this earlier, right, connecting to brands, which I think has done wonders via social media. I mean, before, if you wanted to, I don't know, contact the company if something went wrong, what'd you have to do? You had to pick up the phone and call.
Well, I mean, snail mail. We could go all the way back there, or their 1-800 number. We don't have to go that far back.
Snail mail.
Yeah, and then now it's like, I mean, there's so many stories. Like the Ritz-Carlton. I love that example, and I just love Marriott for doing this, even though we're not getting paid for that shout out. So a little boy, he had. Then, you know, the kid was just down in the dumps because he left his elephant, and his dad was like, "No worries, don't worry about it." And he was thinking about just, you know, Amazon 2-day shipping, but he called up the Ritz-Carlton and said, "Hey," they're like, "Yeah, like we'll overnight him to you, no worries." So what Ritz-Carlton did, they took it a step further and actually took the elephant all around the Ritz, at the pool, behind the concierge desk, etc. And they said, "Hey, your baby elephant's safe with us." And then, you know, they tweeted the dad, and so that the little kid was able to see what was going on. And then, obviously, like, you know, a day later, he got his toy back. And you wouldn't get that with a phone call. They would just be like, "All right, it's in the mail. Like, you'll get it in a week," type of thing. But now, I mean, there's people at the beach, and then the brands are reaching out, getting publicity, saying, "Hey, here's your ring back. What's your size?" And go from there. So, I mean, definitely, also on the flip side of things, getting support. You know, as you saw on one of our other stream setups we tried to do, there's like a little intercom chat. You can just click that, interact with them. Some companies are pretty much within minutes of. Others will take a few hours. So just being spontaneous in this day and age, people want the service and they want it now, type of thing. So getting tech support, or just, you know, connecting with the brand in general is, I think social media has done very well for that.
Oh, it absolutely has. And by the way, I had to take a moment because, Killian, I swore you were talking about a live elephant. I was like, who has a pet elephant? What country was this in? Oh, okay.
No, not a giant elephant. I'm talking about like a stuffed animal.
Dude, yeah. Anyways, that's my moment for the day. And by the way, Jeremy, thanks for maybe bringing us on back here because, wow, I just fell off my wagon. But anyways, Jeremy says, companies who stay live with customer feedback issues through social media or email will survive in this online retail takeover. You know, and I completely agree with that. When I think of like Twitter, what they're doing, T-Mobile, right? I mean, like T-Mobile is killing it right now. If you even look at some of the things, like they may put out some sort of advertisement, they may tweet something, put something out there. And if people have issues, you just direct customer support right there within Twitter. And if you look at all the APIs where everybody's going, Facebook in particular wants to use chatbots, so does Google with Allo. The writing is on the wall, the messaging is very clear between not only chatbots to start the conversation and just kind of intuitively help with maybe small, easy things that could happen. We have live people on the end. And, you know, let's face it, I mean, we're just in a day and age where we'd rather chat with somebody through our phones, through text, than we do call them, right? I mean, like, okay, for instance, I had carpet cleaning done here like several months ago. I was able to go on Facebook, literally hit up this company. My mother-in-law, oh God, she told me about it, right? I was able to literally just go schedule it just at my convenience. And it's great because if I'm trying to do it on the phone, I guess the issue I have with that is I have to call at a time maybe when there's less background noise and not distracted. I may have to wait. I may have to go through some automated system I don't like. I may get transferred 5 or 6 times. It's just nice to be able to cut all that out, get right to it, send a message when I have a thought or I have a need, put it out there, go about my business, and know that they can respond when they're able. And let's say even if it's 10 minutes later, 10 minutes waiting on the phone seems infuriating. 10 minutes through text, not so much.
Yep.
Yeah,
and even like some of the chat features, like it'll, like, let's say you go to a website and you're click that chat open, you start typing your message, you hit enter, you can actually X out of that tab completely and then come back like 30 minutes later, and that person can, where the conversation left off, it doesn't start over again. And then of course you can email transcript it so you have everything documented.
See, another good point. Everything's documented. On their end, call may be recorded for quality and assurance purposes or whatever, right? Where we don't have that. And then to your point, the fact that we have it in a sense in the form of writing, to me it's just so much more powerful. So I don't know, between the convenience and just the ability literally to reach anyone at any given time and interact with different brands, I just think it's something so powerful that social media is really changing customer service. And for many individuals, they thought customer service was failing them for quite some time, where clearly now that's on the uprise, things are changing, and when something happens that's negative, it happens on a global scale that everybody knows, right? It's like, just like recently, just kind of a funny one. I think I sent it to you, the one with P.F. Chang's for the Olympics, right? Oh, yeah. And so, like, apparently, just in case you guys didn't hear, like, a news station was, like, broadcasting, obviously, Olympics in South Korea. Awesome. Home of Samsung. And anyways, so they had apparently, like, a sister company that was going to do a skit, and instead of saying, I don't even know how to say the city appropriately.
Pyongyang.
Yeah, Pyongyang. Instead of saying it that way, it literally it said P.F. Chang's. And so some people found it funny. Some people did not find it funny. I mean, it could go either way. Some people either found the humor in it and could see where maybe eating could be like a winter type sport. Some people did not see it that way. It turned racial real quick. And that's just the point, is social media now allows that stuff to be exposed at a greater rate, where before, I mean, you had to be at the right channel at the right time to catch it. So things are just completely different.
Right. You don't have to go to the newsstand anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, and the fact that everything's out there raises the next question, which is privacy. Right? So, I mean, to you, right, I did a lot of talking, Killian. For you in particular, how do you feel that it's affecting your privacy, right? Like, I know you mentioned at one point your friend with, like, the location tagging, may have had his house broken into, but I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, personally, I don't post too much about my personal life on Facebook or any other type of social platform. If you guys follow me on Snapchat or Instagram, you'll see that the 99% of the time I'm posting food. So if you definitely love food, hit me up. And for as far as like privacy, like I said, a lot of times I'll even like if like Facebook Pixel, if Facebook's open on my web browser, I know it's tracking every move I'm doing. So like if I go on Zillow.com, I'll probably get a Facebook ad, believe it or not, from real estate agents. Facebook, what is Zillow? A real estate lookup site. So all these ads are relevant, obviously now with Facebook Pixel. So you're either, to avoid that, you're either clearing your cookies and not logging on Facebook for the most part, for the privacy part. Now for like Facebook on my phone, if it's open and on the background, it's like, you know, obviously tracking my location, so it knows like where I'm at, and if I check in somewhere, they know that I like this type of food and XYZ. And even one time we Dallas, we kept getting Facebook saying like, hey, are the hours correct here at the Egg and I, are the hours correct at Torchy's Tacos? How did you like the food? Like, surveys would pop up and stuff like that. So, like, they knew we were there. And because our phone was open, sitting there for 30 minutes to an hour or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not and of course, like, the huge, like, just, I don't know, the privacy aspect, I think there's a lot more to go as far as privacy is concerned. That you check all the settings on all of your apps as far as privacy concerns, and also location services. I know that in Europe they're taking a huge stance right now on privacy. You could probably look in the news right now. I think Germany's taken a huge stance, making sure Facebook is either A, not functioning, or B, complying with the new European Union protocol.
Yeah, it's... I see where people feel, it gets a little dicey. I mean, I totally get it. But, we got to look at it from two aspects. One, services such as Facebook, services such as, all Google services, right? Gmails, Maps, so on and so forth. It comes at a cost. Like, for stuff that's free like that, the benefits that we get out of it, to me, is absolutely amazing. Like, could you imagine if you literally had to pay for each and every one of those services? And with that,
from G Suite, anything else, like Facebook. I mean, I could honestly probably, if it wasn't for me being in real estate, I could probably honestly get rid of Facebook altogether. But I would, like, most of my life revolves around Google and Google products as far as like email and all that stuff is concerned.
Yeah, to me, all of it does. And it's just, again, the world. I mean, even when you go and you look something up, sorry, Microsoft, right? You don't hear like, oh, go Bing it or so that they know. Almost like Google it.
Right.
The first thing, right? And I mean, again, you don't get these great services without there being some sort of cost. And if it's not monetary to you, there's got to be something. And to me, I look at it this way. When I'm at my home, and I want things to be private there, totally can be. I can choose to disconnect. I can put whether... you put your phone in offline mode, or you just go particularly and like turn certain applications off, and so on and so forth. We still have control over it. I guess it's just the question may arise that some people feel like they don't have full control over it, meaning it's like, okay, I can't enjoy these services without giving up all this information. And, oh, by the way, I'm just going to, just real quick here. How is my wife going to troll me right now? Speaking of trolls, ladies and gentlemen.
Go to bed.
Victoria trolls me. She says, yeah, go to bed. Victoria, you go to bed. I'm afraid she's going to, like, bust this door down. Like, go to bed. I'm like, okay, Mom. That's too funny. Go to bed. Oh. In due time, I'll be there after too long, I promise. I'll come through and I'll touch you with my
without the phone, right?
Without the phone. No phone.
As stated at minute 5.
Yeah, just leaving it. But I mean, some people just feel like they can't get away from it, And I'm just like, that's not really true. Like, I feel like people truly are. I almost walked in there looking crazy. She says she almost walked in here. Well, we would have enjoyed it. I mean, to me, it would have been a great Facebook Live moment that you can never take back. So, but anyway, no, it to me, it's one of those where. Again, people just have choices, and they have to accept that what they're using, what they're getting, they have to understand the benefits of it, realize some of the drawbacks, but really make just a very well thought out, like just critically think the entire steps of it's made your life much easier this way. And the things that I'm giving up, I mean, I can't really think of, I don't really feel like I'm losing anything. Maybe it's just me, right? Maybe it's some millennial me, but I don't really feel like my privacy has been infringed on because I just know how to turn certain things on or off, delete them, not give them access, right? Like those things matter. And yeah, I'm not going to be able to take all the services, but again, that's the choice that you make. But to feel like you have no privacy, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, no, you have the privacy. You choose.
Yeah, you have it if you choose it.
Yeah, you just have to make a choice. It's very cut and dry. I don't think there's really any gray area there.
Yeah, like, I mean, those guys have done a really good job in that aspect. Like, I remember downloading a flashlight app on my Samsung device, and they wanted access to my microphone. Like what? Why would you absolutely need my microphone at any given time? So yeah, I definitely denied all of those. And before it was an all or nothing. Like you accepted all of it, or it was a cancel. Like you didn't download the app. Now you're allowed to say, all right, well, deny the microphone access, deny GPS, etc., and then only allow the torch to be involved. But of course, everyone's their own implemented torch now.
And that goes real dicey, right? Because I mean, you just took it back. Like I know I'm Team Samsung, but I'm glad Apple went with those privacy issues, or with the check-ons, like allow access here, deny access there. It really exposed something even more concerning, is that some of these app developers were taking advantage of the fact that they could have that access. Right, like even let's say having using Wi-Fi. Like there was companies out there that would literally get all of your Wi-Fi information. When I say your Wi-Fi information, like the ones that you connect to, and then sell that to companies so they know where there's free wireless access and so on and so forth. Too. I mean, it gets definitely dicey and shady. That's for sure. There's no denying it.
Yeah, you've been at the Mall of Georgia and that data to Starbucks or whoever.
Yeah, man. Well, or even look what Comcast has done, right? I believe Comcast is one where if you have their Wi-Fi service and you're using their routers, they had a portion of it that was open to other Comcast consumers that would go through it. That's how they were blanketing it between cellular and Wi-Fi, which, again, it's just so dicey.
Like, I'm paying Comcast for the internet. Why are they able to then go ahead and broadcast my signal for free?
Yeah, well, it's like what irritates me about cable, right? It's like, wait a minute. Cable is like a movie, and if you're paying for, let's say, a movie, you expect what? That you're not going to have any commercials. You have previews. I feel most people like previews, but you have no commercials. Yet, you pay for cable, and they still double dip and show you commercials anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you get 10, 15 minutes of commercial content.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
And that's why DVR TiVo came about, because now I watch my show, and I'll just fast forward through all the commercials.
And see, and Richard Berger, by the way, he feels us over there. He's like, agreed, bro. Nice point. Yeah, I mean, it's absurd. Like, I mean, I get it. Like advertisement marketing certainly has a place. And don't get me wrong, I do like to be marketed things that would be useful to me. However, I don't want to be bombarded, and if I'm really paying for a service, I expect that there's at least as many interruptions as possible. Like, again, I pay for Netflix, right? Do I want to see commercials during Netflix? No. That's why I love Netflix. I can binge it, go through it, and not have to watch all this other crap. Where if you're going to watch it on TV, that you're paying a lot of money for, they're bombarding you with it all the time. And so, arguably there, people feel like, let's say, the privacy for their children, that their children are being marketed certain things that they wish they wouldn't show them on TV. I mean, that is a rabbit hole. I mean, I could easily spend another hour. We can go to midnight discussing this topic.
Fads and like fidget. Whenever I was growing up, it was Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pogs and all that other stuff.
Hey, fads come and go, but social media is not a fad, right? Like that one is not.
Oh no.
Coming and going, my friend.
Certain sites were a fad, like I guess MySpace lasted all but 2-3 years.
Soon. MySpace. Well, here, throw something a little different at us, right? So, being in the States, like for instance, what is your? I know you know this off the top of your head. Like the Chinese major social media, it's running away from me right now.
Yeah. The Chinese name for it is Weixin, and then the Chinese, that's like the Chinese Facebook, if you will. Even though it's more about like Facebook, you can go add whoever friend you want. On WeChat, you have to actually know that person. So it's like exchanging a phone number. So you're going to know that person. You're going to only share information with people that you know. They do have like official accounts. So like China Mobile has their own account. You can actually become a fan of them, and then they broadcast stuff to you. And then you have Weibo, which is like the Chinese Twitter. So they have like all the hashtags implemented, all that stuff. And then you have Momo, which is like the Chinese Tinder. And so obviously app for everything that equates to.
Because
America.
now you got me curious, right? So you just said that on I think what WeChat, right? Like you can't add somebody you don't know.
Correct. You couldn't just be like, I search Victoria, and then like 20 Victorias show up, and then like I can click add on every single one of them. I would actually have to know that I am adding Victoria.blunt to my.
And that, in theory, right? Like, I think it sounds really good. At the same time, and look, I know just like a little conspiracy to be. I kind of want to like for the evil facial hair that I just don't have because I can't grow anything. It makes me wonder, like, do they do that so people don't cluster in China? They don't like
No, I think
mass
it's more of like you have 2 billion people, and like everyone's gonna add each other. Like the entire country of China. Or I mean, it's like more like 1.3
Well, someone can
billion.
reject.
So,
Reject.
oh yeah, of course you can
Yeah.
block all that stuff, but yeah,
Well, you know what I'm saying. Coming from my understanding, right, is like obviously they don't like big amounts of people to gather, like
gather. Yeah,
protests and riots, right? And it just makes me wonder, like, it could be a smart thing to do that to keep people who may influence each other and cause like a chain reaction that's
right.
maybe a little bit threatening. That's interesting, but anyway.
Since you said you watch Netflix, you've seen Black Mirrors, right?
Yeah.
So you know the social credit.
I'll have to ask Victoria.
Okay, so that episode, in China, the rumor is that they're going to start having social credit implemented before.
Okay, so just for people who, let's say, don't know, right? Just run us through like a quick synopsis of that.
Geez, like I guess. So China is going to take like your social credit. So like if you're, it's going to be
in theory, right?
Right. So it's a reputation system, and the citizens are going to be like their economic status, how nice you are to them, etc. So if you remember that it was like and she needed like a 4.0 to get on an airplane or something like that. So every single interaction, so you would go around with a fake smile, and then someone would rate you. You would go get a cappuccino from the store, and if the cappuccino was awful, you would rate the barista a 0. And then if like in the office, so like corporate politics would pay. And so like let's say we didn't like Terrence one day, and to get access into the building, the Samsung office, you have to have a 2-star and above. If we want to troll you, or hey, maybe you didn't hit a project deadline, we can, form a group and be like, all right, we're going to give Terrence a 0. All of a sudden, your social rating plummets. You're no longer able to access the Samsung building because you're under a 2-star. And then, obviously, you're not in the job anymore. So China's thinking about implementing that. And I was actually voted. They wanted to put it in place by 2020. But I think they're a little off on their projection. But yeah, definitely mirror episode.
That'd be really interesting. Which, by the way, Stephen Michael Vick said that's one of his favorite episodes, and so does Victoria. So apparently, that's a very popular one. Where was I? I must have been either traveling or asleep or upstairs or something at the time. Victoria has been going on like a Netflix rampage without me, but it's probably my fault. So, what can one do?
But I scheduled broadcast here. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about my shirt here, the player shirt. So I don't know what you use YouTube for, but I usually use Tool for education purposes. So something in Photoshop, I just say, all right, make the background invisible in Photoshop, put it in YouTube. So like just how to anything. How to use anything, or how to change my oil in my Cadillac CTS-V, and just go from there. What do you use it for?
For me, YouTube, really a lot of education. Like that's my favorite, like hands down. Like when I want to go learn something, whether I'm watching like Big Think. I love, there's this one guy that does Engineering Explained is like the name of it. This dude that does like math and straight up physics, just revolving around cars. I love MKBHD. I always have to say it slow, like that guy's his channel. But between him, Casey, and a few others, like I just really love what people are creating, what they're doing on YouTube. And I think I have learned more from YouTube than I have any other, I guess, like media television channel. There,
I would even say through the entire school system I went through, including my 4-year college degree.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a whole other thing there. I mean, definitely should be a subject for another day. But even what we're doing now, when I say like just the way that you would learn and that you could be involved in, let's say something like YouTube, online learning, so on and so forth, I think it challenges already the very weak education system that we have, right? Like just a quick example. If you were going to go to school and do marketing, what they're going to teach you in college these days about marketing is already too late and it's outdated. And unfortunately, those type of people are not practitioners, meaning they're not doing what it takes today. And if you look, marketing today is heavily, when I buy stuff, Instagram, Facebook, Amazon, and that's not stuff, the marketing class I take even a few years ago, that's not really what they're teaching now.
Yeah, dog on my degree some more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I definitely agree with you on that. It's, if, like, for example, like, people doing Herbalife, if I want to do supplements, I'll go to bodybuilding.com or I'll hit up Instagram and ask that influencer, hey, what stack are you taking right now? And they'll say, all right, I'm taking this pre-workout, I'm taking this protein, I'm taking this post-workout, and go from there, and I'll probably buy it.
Yeah, and then you got like other things that challenge it, but it's positioned a little differently. So if you look at, let's say, okay, Facebook Live, that's what we're doing now. Similar to YouTube, but different. And so it's similar because, I mean, you can get, obviously, like live content. You can put up content. Content can still be viewed later, can be saved. I still feel like Facebook is relatively young, and maybe their niche is going to be the fact that it's live. And hold on,
Right.
I'm just going to bust a thought for a little second here because we've got something again from Stephen Michael Vick that says, that's why the best business teachers are the ones who are also working in the field and teaching at colleges. I could not agree with more of that, of what he just said. I completely agree, Stephen, on that one. You got to be a practitioner. I just don't see how you get around it. And if you look, again, what we're doing today, you see what Facebook's doing with Live. You see what YouTube's doing. You see what Instagram is even doing it, and Snapchat in different ways, right? And I know those get a little more, they're a little more polarizing in my opinion, because like, okay, like for instance, I look at Snapchat and I say, okay, Snapchat has the possibilities there. You know, I've never been like the biggest fan of the UI, and I know I'm probably going to get trolled a little bit. Someone's going to say, Terrence, it's because you're a little too old for that. But I don't know. It's like I feel like there's something kind of missing from the discovery part of Snapchat. Like you can't really discover anybody else you would be interested in other than celebrities. And you got Instagram. Yeah, they do live, but you can't. If I'm not mistaken, you can't like go back and review it, right? Like you can only view it while it's there. Someone correct me in the chat room if I'm wrong. But it's like you can view it. Like it always tells you, hurry up before it ends. And I guess I don't like that because it forces you to think, okay, either A, you interrupt exactly what you're doing at that very moment, and you don't live in the current moment that you're in, and you view it. Maybe you'll catch something, maybe you don't. But if you don't, you kind of just basically screwed. Oh, the cat decided to jump like right on me at this very moment. You miss everything that's happening. Okay, that was your moments online, Tandra. I appreciate that. Man, you cut it deep. But yeah, I just feel like you're being forced to be distracted. In other words, let's see.
Yeah, I mean it's another form of scarcity. I mean, it's like, hey, watch it before it ends. So it's like, hey, you got to open the app right now, or you're going to miss it. That's how a lot of people get sold on a lot of things. Is like, hey, like Hurricane Harvey. There's no to the store in Dallas here. There was everyone like rushed the pump. Everybody, whenever we said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have a gas shortage here," I saw even like on social media, topic of the day, coincidentally, this guy had two like big of those like trash barrels and he was filling it up with gas in the back of his pickup truck. So yeah, just in general. So that's what Instagram's trying to do. And I think if you have an individual on Facebook, I think it'll also sync Instagram story to Facebook story. So if you have that person on Instagram and Facebook, you'll be able to view it on Facebook later. Someone in the chat could probably correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, more Rashonda just said you can review it the same day on Instagram. So I guess like if they put it in, I believe it's called My Stories. Like if you put it in that section, then you have 24 hours to view it, which I think is reasonable.
So Snapchat, essentially.
Yeah. Let's see. Or here goes. I'm just gonna throw it up here so everyone can see. Chelsea said, or before a new one is recorded that day, which is similar to Periscope. Periscope. Oh, we kind of forgotten about Periscope, right? There's Meerkat for a second. For those of you who, I loved Meerkat. That was like my first real live experience. Just never quite caught on the way that it should have. And then Periscope by Twitter came and just really crushed them. So, I mean, they just didn't really survive at all. But no, I think you're absolutely right on that. Yeah, good call out, though, more Rashonda. We just had to throw you a little love for that. So we appreciate you sharing that one. But yeah, I mean, what you can do today on social media, I would tell you this. For anybody who thinks that social media is bad for their kids, for anybody in general, whatever, look, it's really setting that expectation and showing them how to use it as a tool and not for it to necessarily use them up, if that makes any sense. Meaning, to me, it's really sad when people say, oh, if I don't get like 100 likes, I'm going to take this down. Like, who are you kidding? Like, I don't care if 0 people like what I put up. I'm still going to put it up anyway. Like, do it for you. Don't necessarily do it for anybody else. And so if we're living in a world where people are teaching other people that if it doesn't have a certain amount of likes, it's not significant, I think that really teaches people in general, no matter what your age or your demographic falls under, that really teaches people just a really negative connotation of what moves with social media and how you could use it. But more so to use it as a tool to say, hey, you can put things out there and figure out, what works and what doesn't. Okay, so what if it doesn't get any likes? Cool. Learn from it. You try something new. And all of a sudden, let's say you do get those 100 likes. There's a lesson to be learned from that. Again, connecting to people, connecting to brands. So I think overall, they certainly all have their places. They all have their niches in it. And I think anybody would do themselves justice to get to learn it, to stay ahead of the curve versus fall behind. Because it seems to happen in every avenue of technology.
Right. And then how about LinkedIn, man? We haven't really touched on that one yet.
That's a good one to kind of wrap things up with. I know we get to a time. Yeah, so right. LinkedIn to me is really powerful. So I think you use it quite often. You seem to be on it quite a bit with your real estate, yeah?
Yes, as well as with B2B connections. I use it. I thought it used to be just like LinkedIn. I used to always just only connect with recruiters because I was in the job market, and then I kind of just created my own job through real estate. And so I started another business called ClientShowings.com, and essentially that is targeting realtors. And I will go to the Fort Worth area, and I will show houses on behalf of other realtors. I just pose it as, hey, you're busy with your 9 to 5, and I know you're a realtor, but you have a client that needs to see a property at 5 p.m. at 123 Main Street. I'll go say good things about it and show your client around. Connections, that's what I would call it in this case. LinkedIn. Realtors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and send them a 4-line email saying exactly what you're going through as far as like a time fashion is concerned. Do you want to set up an appointment, a solution that's good for you? And then I just drop my link in there, and then I get a couple business. I actually made $400 this weekend helping a realtor out. So definitely a great tool. Even if you're definitely hit up IT departments, see if they need your service, etc.
Yeah, not that anybody asked for it, but something that you just made me think about too. Look, for all of us, and it doesn't matter which one it is, right? We're going to stick with LinkedIn here, but you can really apply this to all of all of just social media sites that you can use, or apps, should I say. Look, you got to bring the value, right? Like, too many people
Right.
go in there. I know, oh, the value word. Oh, we use this as an insider. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, you really do have to bring the value, though. Meaning, don't just go in guns a blazing and asking for all sorts of things, right? Like, people go on Instagram all the time asking like for other people to follow them, all sorts of stuff. Like, okay, wait, give them a reason to follow you. Or if you're on LinkedIn, like, give people a reason to look at what you're doing and show the work. Like, literally show your work. And so if
Right.
you're gonna go on there, I mean, yeah, you do want to try to link up with people. I found like a few people have done it really right. Like, they'll do something, they'll put out an article. Like, I think I got his name right. I think it was Steve Peters. He sent me one. He actually wrote a really good article on LinkedIn. And so he hit me up on the DM, asked me to read it. I read it, and honestly, I thought it was really good. And so I shared it. Right. So it's one thing to do it that way versus like, oh, trying to get myself out there. Could you do this? Like, people ask all the time, can you give me a recommendation? Can you hook me up? People are always asking for things, but they're not giving anything. I shouldn't even say in return. Like, they're not stepping up to the plate where it makes me feel compelled. Like, I think that's one of the best things, especially if you're a salesperson. You want that person to feel they're self obligated to do exactly what you want them to do, because you just bring so much value, bring so much worth in everything you do. So I think
Right.
just whatever avenue you choose in social media, don't just go in guns blazing asking all the time. Like, you really do got to bring your strong A game. Just go through, do
Oh, I mean,
you.
you gotta give. Um, and no, like I see it so many times is like a recruiter will post like, we're hiring in Atlanta, Georgia, and then they'll throw the link up there, and then they'll have like 100 people be like, applied, and that's it, like enter, and that's the comment. They'll thumbs up it and hope the recruiter get back to them, and then they'll even connect with the recruiter on LinkedIn, asking when their interview is up, and it's just like it's their right. Like, oh, you have to reply back to me. It's like, no, that recruiter got hit up so many different ways. So if you guys find yourself, build your network and don't ask. Like, you're in such a better situation, and building your network, because I don't know about you, but if someone came up to me and was like, hey man, could you help me find a job? Why am I going to stop whatever to help you, unless you're a really good close friend? But you have to think of the aspect of, like, you're hitting up a recruiter. They have no idea who you are, and they probably see 1,000 applications a day. So if you're trying to go work at Best Buy, you need to start, getting to whether that connecting with on LinkedIn, or even going into visiting a few Best Buy stores and going right to the manager of that place and getting involved with the DM. And it's really easy these days LinkedIn to look somebody up, as well as every single time I always asked who the hiring manager was, who the recruiter was, so I could go look them up on Facebook or even LinkedIn at the very least. I had an interview with OtterBox, and I looked up each individual 7-person panel, made sure, okay, this guy, big believer in Christ, he has 7 kids, this other guy had a dog, loved being outside. And so I just went in there prepared, and that's just in that whole no privacy type thing. Definitely use it to your advantage, whether it be...
Recruiters use it.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I know a lot of
Ben's
people that didn't
point-
get a job because they just they post all of their club outings on social media, and they didn't want to have a drunk person or crazy.
Yeah. Look,
work
I'm going to
at their
agree
company.
with Ben Cooper right here. Ben just put, look, you have to build your brand, and call it what you want. You can call it self-image. It's a nice way or a marketing way of saying, your reputation, straight up, right? Like, you have to build it. There's no getting around that. And considering that these days we're so connected, people are flooding in their resumes everywhere. How are you going to stand out? Okay, cool. You have a degree. Well, so are the 1,000 other people that applied for the job. You've got to figure out literally a way to make yourself stand out. And it's got to be something very unique to you in the moment. Some people do things like, impersonally do very personal things. I've watched one guy, just for an example, he put I think like a YouTube link or something like that, like on a resume, somehow got it to the hired person, and literally in a fun, creative way, like literally wrapped his job, like his just not only things that he could do, but like his skills. Literally put it out there, and it was so intriguing. The person just had to give him an interview, right? And I'm not saying go rapping everybody that you know or every job that you're applying to, but the guy found like a different way to reach different people by doing what you mentioned, right? Kind of doing his research, doing his homework, and just find ways to reach other people. And I think that's something that you really have to do to stand yourself apart. And just a place that just gets flooded digitally with all these different people that have these faces. There's no story behind it. And you literally have to find a way to share your personal story.
Right. And you also, besides a resume, like, yeah, you got the skills, but you have to be likable.
Oh,
I mean,
please be
I would
likable.
work with you any day of the week, Terrence, just because I like you. I don't care what skills you have. I don't care if you've got a PhD or a high school diploma. I'll work with you any day of the week because I like you as an individual. So that's also goes back to people have to like you to want to work with you or buy something from
Yeah,
you.
man. Look, I'll do a quick little shout out to my boy Eric Denault. He says this all the time. It's like he just repeats this all the time. But it's like there's certain skills you can teach, but one of them that's difficult. I don't want to say impossible, but extremely difficult is like a personality, right? Like some people just have it, some people don't, right? Like some people are born, they have very particular talents, very particular set of skills. And I think that's great if you have it. And if that natural born talent, by all means, please utilize it. However, with that being said, there's certain things that you don't have. There's things you can work on. And by the way, I just want to put it out here. Ben Cooper put out, I've watched videos of people bringing chocolate bars to businesses that had his resume on the nutritional facts.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Wow. Like that right there, I gotta give it to that guy. Like that's funny because one, if I shouldn't say always, if I were to ever receive a very stranger danger candy from somebody, preferably he did not drive a white van, but if he were to deliver this to me, I would definitely check out those ingredients first. And the fact that they put a resume on it, that's just smart, man. I don't know. That's funny. And clearly it caught on, it went viral.
Yes. And speaking of viral, how about those?
Oh yeah. Oh, what about the time? I'm gonna let you wrap this one up with that one. Just go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, with social media, you got things going viral. Pods, even Tide came out. Rob Gronkowski, the tight end for the Patriots, also these Tide Pods. Parents are taking it to the next level of actually going to court. Tide Pods and other washer detergent in those pods don't look similar to candy or something nutritional. It was literally just something completely stupid. Of like something harmless was like the cinnamon challenge. Like that was funny. All right, like you just put as much cinnamon as you can in the palm of your hand, and you just put it in there, and that stuff burned. Okay, and you would immediately spit it out because it tasted so bad. The ice sponge. I mean, whoever made that is a genius. Like ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Like no, there was not that much money being put into it, and all of a sudden, Ice Bucket Challenge comes. It goes viral. They made more money that year than they had in all the other previous years combined, thanks to that. And to that also, it's been a lot easier for them to collect donations, like using any type of hashtag for anything. Hashtag Red Cross, Hurricane Harvey. I was watching T-Mobile was doing that hashtag. They were donating, pretty much dollar for dollar on that. So I think overall, to wrap things up, social media is a huge pro, even though it does have a few cons in it. But I think it's good for the greater good of society.
Now look, because I can't make this camera on my computer zoom into my face, I'm gonna go very close here for a second. Just very close here for a second. Look into the depths of my soul, people. If Tide Pods were so tasty, Ben and Jerry's would make a Tide Pod flavored ice cream, and they don't. So please don't eat it. I don't know what kind of kids are doing this. Like, please don't tell me. What are these teenagers? Like, who is doing this? Just real quick. I mean, I get it. Like, clearly you got to watch out. Like, I got a little one. I mean, this kid Knox will try to take one time I caught him trying to get a hold of the air freshener You know, like kids naturally want to do that, sure. But if we got any grownish folks, any people in their teens trying to eat some Tide Pods, yo, we gotta have a real big talk about that diet. Like, look, I hope the budget's not that tight. Hopefully you got some raisins, some Wheaties in the corner, something you can eat. But please, please, people, please don't be putting Tide Pods in your mouth. I just needed to plead with a few people out there because I just like that. That is beyond. But anyways, with that being said, so Killian, I know we better wrap it up before I get another message from the wife telling me to get to bed. But with that, I just wanted to thank you for spending some time with me this evening. I know you spent hours with me trying to figure this thing out, getting some things to work. I mean, we're like on our second tool here. We went through many different things, trying out many different things. And overall, I appreciate you because it couldn't be a success without you. So I thank you for everything you do. You're a good friend, my friend. And with that being said, where can maybe people find you? I know you're here on Facebook. You got a total. What are some of those social media feeds that you're on, Killian?
The easiest way to connect with me is probably going to be through my business. That's going to be Red Pocket Realty. And then all of my social media is going to be Red Pocket Realty. If you want to connect with me personally, it'll just be facebook.com/ my first and last name. No periods, no underscores, KILIANGOLDIAN. I'm probably the one and only out there in this world, so if you can't find me, just check. Thank you so much for having me, Terrence. I know we had a few IT, and I look forward to the next invitation onto your show here.
Yeah, my man, I appreciate it. Well, again, this is Terrence Blunt with Those Conspicuous Millennials. That is the actual website. I do have one. I've done a podcast. I put it up on Apple. I'm still trying to get Google. Google has been a pain. I'm not even going to go there. Google's supposed to be my friend. They're supposed to be the easiest company to work with, and yet that RSS feed error message I'm getting is literally going to drive me bat poo emoji crazy, my friend. But anyways, we'll have to get on that. But with that being said, guys, appreciate you. We'll definitely catch you all the next time.
Thanks.